What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to this new episode of Restorations with Vic. What I have for you guys today are these super disgusting pink Air Jordan Olympic 7s from 2012. Just like the alternate 89 Jordan 4 restoration video from a few weeks back, this is going to be a two-part restoration. We're going to go in detail for each step for those of you who want to get a better idea on how to do this process. For these shoes, they're going to need a lot of work. We're going to go in using our 3-brush advanced launch system and our detergent to get this shoe fully cleaned up inside and out. We're going to remove the yelling off the toe caps, re-glue the toe caps as well, do a ton of prepper to get rid of all the deep scratches and scuffs all over the leather, repaint the silver and white leather, repaint the red and gold midsoles, and remove the creasing all over the shoe. We got a ton of work, guys, so let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is put this shoe to the side since we're only going to be working on the left shoe for before and after purposes. This shoe did not come with any shoelaces, so we don't have to worry about that. But we do have to worry about the insoles since we are going to give those a separate cleaning thoroughly. The next step we're going to do is pop in our adjustable Reshoevn8r shoe tree and adjust it to size. What this does for us is it helps us remove the creasing off the toe box once the shoe is fully clean and dried, and it helps us apply pressure on the toe box with the brush during the cleaning process. Good to go with that. Next, we're gonna grab our solution and squirt 2 squirts inside a collapsible bowl with water. Now let's get the party started. We're going to be using our soft bristle brush to start hammering the uppers in a circular motion. All done with the soft bristle brush on the uppers, I got rid of about 80–90% of the grime that was sitting on there, but I still see a lot of pink and grime all around. In just a bit, we'll move on to the medium bristle brush to get rid of all that stuff. But while I still have the soft bristle brush, we're gonna take out our shoe trees so we can focus on the insides of the shoe. For the insides, guys, it is just as important as the outside. Make sure you're taking your time and not just doing the tongues and the ankle area. Make sure you're getting deep inside the toe box area and all around the crevices and the sides. As you can see right here, it's pretty disgusting. If I was to leave that alone, this would not be a proper cleaning. So make sure you take your time doing so. All done with the insides of the shoe, now let's jump back to the leather uppers. We'll be using our medium bristle brush. Since the set's been sitting on the uppers for quite some time now, it's done a really good job of breaking down some of this pink stuff and grime. That makes my life a lot easier because I don't have to apply as much pressure using the medium bristle brush. Alright, I did all the scrubbing I possibly do on the uppers using the medium bristle brush. Now let's move on to these soles. We'll be using our stiff bristle brush. Pro tip, guys, whenever you're cleaning the soles using the stiff bristle brush, for best results, apply as much pressure as you can. Pre-treatment is good to go on this shoe. The last step you gotta do before we wrap up this cleaning is give this insole a quick clean. We're gonna be using our soft bristle brush. Insole's good to go. The last step you gotta do is put both the insole and the shoe inside our single laundry bag and put them in the washing machine. To the laundry room. Time for the washing machine. Let's go ahead and put the shoe inside the washer. As always, you're gonna wanna use our Reshoevn8r single laundry detergent. Squeeze and pour 1 full ounce. As always, you're gonna wanna turn it on, use cold water with the regular cycle. We are back, YouTube. We got this Olympic 7 at the washing machine. As you can see, we got the majority of the pink stains off the shoe. All that grime and dirt washed away nicely, and we eliminated the stench inside the shoe. Thanks to our 3-brush advanced laundry system and our detergent, we got the shoe fully cleaned up, ready for some restoration work. The next step we're gonna move on to is removing the yellowing off the toe caps and soles. We'll be using Salon Care 40 and Saran Wrap. For this step, you need either 2 things, the sun or an indoor setup that has a light that contains UV rays. If you guys want to check out my old indoor setup, check out the Jordan 14 restoration. Right now I'm working on a new indoor setup, so hang tight. Let's go ahead and remove the yellowing. So as you can see over here, there's a lot of pink stains in the foam. I'm going to apply Salon Care 40 in those areas. Hopefully the sun can push that stuff out. Put these in the sun. Here's a quick update on where we're at. We got the yellowing at the toe caps, no problem, looks good. Over here on the midsoles, it worked perfectly. We got that pink stuff out using Salon Care 40. If you guys ever have any stains on your foam midsoles, try using Salon Care 40. There's a good chance it'll push that stuff out. Now let's go ahead and take care of these soles. So this all done removing the yellowing off the shoes. These turned out super white. Now let's move on to some prep work. For this shoe, it's covered in deep scratches all around. Back here, you got a few, the toe box especially. On the side right here, you got a super nasty deep cut. Before we can do any type of painting, we got these areas super smooth using some sandpaper. We're gonna start off with 600 grit sandpaper and then work our way up to 1500 grit. Whenever you're doing the sandpaper method, you always want to start with the low number first and work your way up. For example, you never want to start with the 1500 grit because that's for fine details. You always want to start with the 400 to 600 sandpaper range. That'll even out all the rough texture. If you start with the 1500 grit, you're not going to get any results because the sandpaper is super fine. And most important, you gotta have patience for this step. This step can take anywhere to 1 hour to 2 hours. done with the sandpaper method, now let's jump over to the midsoles. For this step, we'll be using Dad's Easy Spray paint remover. Usually use acetone, but this paint's more of a latex type of paint, so if I use acetone, all I would really be doing is wiping off the surface and not really wiping off the paint. What this stuff does is as soon as I apply it, it bubbles right up and you go in and scrape it. Super easy. But first, before we do any of that, we gotta tape around it. All taped up, ready to go. I highly recommend using this stuff. I use a ton of other paint strippers from Home Depot and other hardware stores. This by far is the best to use and the easiest. All you gotta do is use a paintbrush, apply a thin coat all around the paint, let it sit for a few seconds, then gently scrape it off. All done with the paint remover, we got about 80% of the paint completely off the midsoles. The next thing we gotta do is use some acetone and cotton balls to remove the remaining residue. Midsoles are good to go. Now let's jump back to the uppers. While we're using acetone and cotton balls still, let's go ahead and wipe off the factory finish so we can get ready for paint here pretty soon. Uppers and midsoles are fully prepped. Now let's jump over to this nasty separation. Before we do any gluing, we have to remove the old factory glue. If you don't, the glue job will not last. This step is very important. We're gonna go in using our Dremel to remove all the old glue. All done removing all that nasty stuff from the separation using the Dremel. The last step we gotta do to complete the prep job on this entire shoe is go over with acetone and cotton balls to remove any leftover residue. Acetone and cotton balls may seem like a minor step, but it's actually a very important one. If you guys skip this step, there's a good chance your glue job will not hold up very long. All done with the prep work. That took forever. Now let's move on to something different. Using a heat gun, we're gonna remove all the creasing all over the midsole. It's just covered in hairlines all around. Using a heat gun is a really easy trick to remove all that stuff. That's gonna be it for part 1 of the restoration on these Jordan Olympic 7s. Let's go ahead and break down exactly what I've gone and done so far. The first step I did was give the shoe a proper deep clean and set it out to get rid of all that pink, nasty stuff and disgusting grime all around the shoe using our 3-brush advanced enlarge system and our detergent that you can find at Reshoevn8r.com. Use my promo code in the description below. Once that was good to go, we removed the yellowing off the soles using Salon Care 40 and the sun. Next, we moved on to a ton of prep work. We used the sandpaper method to get rid of all the deep scratches all around the shoe. Then we removed the paint off the midsole using Dad's Easy Spray. We finished off the prep work by removing all the old nasty glue from the separation and concluded this part 1 of the restoration by removing all the creasing off the midsoles. Make sure to stay tuned for part 2 of the restoration where we do all the fun stuff like painting and gluing. Also, make sure you guys subscribe because we got a lot of giveaways coming your way such as shoes and kits. Stay tuned you guys, this is Vick Almighty. I'll see you guys next Monday.